Are we live?
Good morning.
Happy Monday. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I hope you had a great weekend. And I hope you're ready to kick some ass this week because we're ready to kick some ass. I did a video this morning talking about kicking ass, and Instagram bleeped out my ass. Not my ass, but the word ass. And the words too, because I did captions and it had all the little symbols. Like, that's a bad word now. It is an animal too. Anyways, we are talking about kicking ass this week in life and business. And specifically, we're talking about the 4 E's of financial success. What the heck are they, and why should you care?
Look, all of these apply in your finances, especially, but all through life. You can actually look and see throughout your life, hey, where have I seen these principles being applied? And I always talk about whenever you encounter something that's true, you have to look at, does it apply in different areas? And if something is workable in different areas, then it's true for you. Otherwise, then something's not true for you. So we're going to tap into that. 4 E's of financial success. Hit them with the first one.
Okay, so the first one is education. So we're going to talk about the importance of organizing your finances for wealth creation. So education, it's really important. This is how we run our whole life and business, really. Is our goal is to help you increase your knowledge so you can take more responsibility and have more control. Because we don't want to just tell you, hey, we're so smart, we're experts, we know all the answers, do this financial strategy or product because we say so. No, just like Martin was saying, if it's true for you, it's true for you. If something does not make sense or you don't understand why it's a good thing for you, then you're going to have doubt. You're going to have uncertainty. Somebody else is going to come in and be like, why are you doing that? And you're like, I don't know. Maybe it's not the best thing. Or you're going to see what everyone else is doing and think that you need to do that. So by increasing your knowledge with the right information, the stuff that actually works, that's going to help you take control to know that you're making the right decisions for you and yourself. And it really starts by knowing what you have and knowing where it is. So when I talk about organizing your finances, a lot of people who we work with, if you don't know who we are, we're Martin and Chelsea Matthews. We have a financial services agency, and we have like 100 years of combined experience by now. I think
we're super old.
I think it's like 27 years of experience combined now. And a lot of people, no matter what income level they're at, they're like, I don't know how much is coming in. I don't know where it's going because like we have money coming in, we're paying stuff, but I don't really know. So the first thing is getting organized and knowing what you have and where it is.
Yeah. So look, education, being the first E of education, is a lot of times people approach things without knowing what the hell they're supposed to be doing. You take fitness, for example. When you go to go like work on your fitness, you want to work on your diet, you want to work on your exercise, whatever it is you want to do, it's like first you got to become educated about how something works. I believe the lack of financial literacy is the greatest economic issue that we face, because if you don't know how money works, how are you going to be able to get money, make it work for you, all of that? You're operating in mystery land. And so many people operate with their finances as a mystery because they're not educated about certain subjects. And they don't teach you in schools. The college professor doesn't know. That's one of the reasons I dropped out of college, because I was in business school and the college professor had never owned a business before. So he didn't know either. And so unless you're around people who have some knowledge that they have applied, and you can see that they've applied that successfully for themselves and others, then it makes sense for you to say, okay, well, let me get some of that information and apply it to whatever it is I'm doing. So education is the first and foremost thing somebody needs to be knowledgeable about. We've taught our son about money and financial principles. He has more money saved at 17 years old than most adults in America. So understand why. Why is it that? Because he's been educated about what he needs to be doing and what he needs to be thinking about and how he needs to strategically think about this stuff. And he also has been educated about thinking about the financial future. We put certain things in place for him, all this different stuff. He'll retire a millionaire even if he doesn't go out and produce, but he's not going to get money from us like that. He's going to have to produce his way to his success. And then once he shows that he's responsible with money through his education and his application, then we will leave him assets, okay?
So put in the comments some of the financial, like what are some things that you have learned that you feel like have helped you? Financial tools, financial knowledge. When you were saying about the greatest economic crisis, I have a post that that talks
people?
about that. Yeah. But talk about having the right information and the right education, because somebody recently posted that actually the greatest economic crisis, so the greatest economic crisis in the post is talking about the lack of financial literacy. And somebody had posted, actually the greatest crisis is the need for housing, that this should be a human right like breathing air. Okay, housing is very important, absolutely. But there is a cost to housing. Somebody has to provide that housing. So like a human right, you don't have to pay for. Like, you know, the right to your freedom, the right to your religious beliefs, the right to air, you know, things like that don't have to be paid for. So if something has to be paid for, somebody has to pay it, which means somebody has to have the resources. So that goes back to economic education, like having the economics, having the financial literacy to be able to get the money to be able to pay for the housing, whether you're paying for your own housing or somebody's paying for it for you. Somebody's got to pay for it. So having the right information, somebody goes along with that belief and they are believing that somebody else should provide this to them. And they're not putting together that somebody has to pay for it. And they're giving that power to somebody else who they think is responsible. So if you can increase your knowledge to know you have to pay for those things, then you will start to look at how can I get the resources, the right information to be able to get those things and have control over my life and my results. So that's just an example of the importance of getting the right information and increasing your knowledge.
Yeah. And what's the next E?
The next E is execution. Because, okay, you could get all the right information and all the right education, and you could do courses and seminars and books and increase your knowledge. But if you don't execute on any of it, it doesn't mean shit. It's not going to do nothing for you. It's not going to do anything for you. So this is talking about how execution plays a role in taking control of your money. Because if you realize in that example I gave, oh, somebody has to pay for housing. So if I can pay for my own housing, I get to choose maybe where I live. I get to choose maybe what housing I have. But if you don't actually take any action, you're not going to get those results.
So look, this is where a lot of people miss the thing is many people don't execute. First of all, you are an executive in your life. You're an executive of your life. You're an executive of your household, whether you think so or not. So what does the word executive mean? To get something done, to execute. The origination of the word executive was to execute, to get things done, okay? Finish things. So most people don't actually execute on things. And I see it all the time. I get anywhere from 50 to 100 DMs or so every single day. And a lot of people, they ask for different advice, they ask for mentorship, they ask for coaching, all these different things. And so, which we're happy to have conversation with people and talk about that. So if you ever have questions, feel free to send us DMs. However, at some point you have to move from thinking to doing. I see so many people get stuck in the education. And part of it is because the education, financial education in America today is not really meant to make you, to make you affluent or wealthy. Is actually meant for a very specific income range. Is meant for from like $20,000 to $50,000, $60,000 a year. That is who most of the financial information in America is tailored to. So if you have aspirations or you actually make $250,000 a year, 90% of the information you see out there is not even applicable to you. In fact, it will be detrimental to you. And if you have aspirations to say, okay, I want to make six figures someday, I want to become a millionaire, most of the advice is not actually for you. It will be hurtful to you. It's for people who are between $20,000 to $50,000 a year. So what you're trying to do is, if you're trying to get beyond that, you need to be listening to things that are designed for beyond that, not 20 to 50 grand a year, and that's all you're ever going to do, because that's where most of the people in America are. So you're trying to do something beyond what the average person is doing. So you can't listen to the average advice. It's not going to work because it's not meant for you. And so as a result of that, most people don't execute on things because they get constant stream of barrage of information. This person says, never get into debt. This other guy says, use debt wisely. Who do you listen to? So as a result, people get stuck in education because you guys listen to so many different people that you get confused as shit. And then you don't know what to do. You're like, well, I want to do this thing. I want to do that thing. I want to do this other thing. I want to do this other thing. And people will tell me, sometimes they'll reach out and have all these grand plans of what they want to do. I want to have my trust, hold my holding company, hold this other thing, hold that other asset. Okay, what have you done so far? And I asked them, what have you done? Do you have a business? How much revenue did you make last year? And they're like, well, I'm thinking about starting this business. Why the hell are you worried about a trust, having a holding company, having this, having that shit, when you don't even have a business yet? You're worried about the wrong thing. So when it comes down to execution, it's about doing. The faster you can go from education to execution, the greater your success. We never do something when it's perfect. We always do something when it's good enough. We're constantly changing things all the time. So, or evaluating stuff. So that's the thing. Execution will beat perfection any day of the week.
All right, so next E in the 4 E's of financial success is evaluation. So when Martin is talking about people skipping steps and not having a business and worrying about taxes or trust or all of these other things, is you've got to do things in the right order. So once you've increased your knowledge and you started taking some action, now you have something to evaluate. Are my actions getting me closer to the results that I want or no? So then you got to evaluate, where am I getting my information from? Am I getting information from people who know how to do the thing I'm trying to do? Have they succeeded? Or am I following, am I listening to the advice of somebody who's never done what I'm trying to do? So you have to evaluate, hey, are my actions getting the results that I want? If not, what do I need to adjust? So for an example, we work with a trainer, we have workouts, we have our nutrition, our macros, how much calories, fat, protein, carbs that we're supposed to take in. And it's different for both Martin and I. We have different workouts, we have different macronutrients. And so then we start working that plan and then we evaluate, hey, am I getting the results that I want? Is my stomach getting flatter? Is my butt getting bigger? If not, okay, so what kind of things do I need to adjust in my workout? What about my numbers? Are my numbers correct? Are they specific to my body type, my age, my goals? So just like your fitness, nutrition goals are specific to you, your financial goals are specific to you. So are the goals and the plan that you have specific to where you are now in your financial house? And are they the right steps that are going to take you where you want to go financially? Because if you're doing the actions that are going to take you over here to somebody else's financial goal, you're never going to get here and you're going to be frustrated and you're going to fail. So It's important to understand, are you taking the right actions and are they getting you where you want to go?
Yeah, good brother says good information. Appreciate that. Hey, if you guys like our content, share with other people and drop comments if you like this stuff, you like this topic. We're talking about the 4 E's of financial success. We've covered education, first one, execution, second one. We're talking about evaluation. Why you need to evaluate where you are.
And let us know in the comments, is there any areas that you know where you've increased your knowledge, but you've got stuck on taking action? Or maybe you've started taking some actions and you're not really sure if it's the right actions or if you need to adjust something. So let us know in the comments where you're at with those pieces.
So when it comes down to evaluating where you are, first of all, if you don't keep track of something, we also see a naturopath. Naturopath does things naturally. Checks out our body, we check our heart rate, check it, all kinds of different things to make sure we're operating at an optimum level. And so we're constantly evaluating that so that we make sure we're doing things right. Most people never, ever evaluate or monitor their finances. They don't evaluate how well they're doing. Compared to what? Compared to how you were doing before, compared to what your potential is. They never evaluate any of this stuff. You'll have people, and we see this all the time, this is an inability to confront shit. So you'll have people who have retirement accounts, bunch of money in a retirement account, and it's a mystery to them. They have no idea how much they have in there. Think about that. You worked hard to produce and you put this money into this account, yet you have zero idea about what's happening to it. You've never evaluated it. And with retirement accounts through your job, you don't actually really have an advisor. There's an advisor to the plan, but the plan advisor is not your specific advisor. Sometimes you can get help with it, but most people don't. So as a result, you get very little help with it. You're largely on your own trying to figure the shit out. If you're like me, when I came to America, I got my first 401k. I went and asked for advice at my job that I worked at the time. And they were like, we can't give you any advice on this. We can't tell you which funds to put your money into. So I looked at a list of funds and one of them said growth. I didn't even know what investments were in there. I didn't know anything about it. And I just checked the box that says growth because I wanted my money to grow. And that's all I knew about a 401k when I first got it.
I worked at E-Trade Securities, an investment company, and they couldn't tell me anything about my plan.
So understand, if you're not evaluating where you are compared to what your potential is, you could be missing out. What if you're making this much, but your potential is like this much? How do you close the gap on your skill set so that you can make a lot more than you're making now? What if your money could be producing a lot better, more optimally, more efficient, more tax advantages, but you never evaluated it? When's the last time you actually evaluated your taxes to make sure you did not overpay your taxes? When did you evaluate any of that? So most people navigate through life without evaluating how well they're doing. They don't know what's happening with their money. And all of this stems from what we talked about, lack of education, lack of execution, and a lot of times a person doesn't know what to turn to, how to evaluate things. We have different tools that will help you evaluate a dozen areas of your finances so you know how everything's looking and performing and doing up to a certain standard. And that's one of the things you have to look at. If you don't have somebody that helps you with that, reach out to us. We'll help you look at a dozen areas of your finances. How do you look at what your cash flow is, your debt rate, your savings rate? How much do you need to make work optional? How much cash flow do you need? What's your cash flow target? What's your real estate target? Everybody's like, oh, I want to buy real estate. What is your target? When? What is your net worth target? How are you increasing your net worth? Do you have a target every year to increase your net worth by a specific amount? What is the game plan to do that? All of these exist as mysteries to people, and then a person wonders why they don't reach their financial goals because they don't have a game plan. They're not evaluating anything. So we do that because the reason we even talk about this stuff, because we confront our money. I look at my money every day. We evaluate our finances. Chelsea and I this weekend, we're evaluating our whole financial position, looking at different things we're wanting to do, our targets, our goals, our net worth targets, our real estate targets, different things. We're looking at that over the weekend. And we're like, okay, so these are the targets we want to hit. How often are you doing that? How often are you doing that in your world where you're evaluating where you are and how you can get to the next level? Because there's always going to be a next one.
All right, so the last E number 4 of
E40.
E40. The 4 E's of financial success. The 4th E is expansion. Okay, so once you've increased your knowledge, your education, you have started to execute on the actions needed. You've evaluated your actions to make sure that they are the correct actions and adjusted as needed. And now you've got some things working for you. You've got some successful actions. You know you're on the right track. Now you expand it. You 10x it. You push hard. You don't let up. This is where a lot of people start going stagnant and then eventually start going down. You get some things working for you and then you're like, oh, I got some wins. I can relax. Let's go on vacation. Oh, we don't have to take it so easy. Now we got a plan. Now we know where we're going. This is good. No, now you got to push harder. You got to expand, because if you don't expand, you're going to stay the same, and nothing stays the same. You're going to eventually start going down. You know, like our plants, they're either growing or they're dying. Okay, so you have to expand to be able to look at. This is also where you can start fine tuning, because we were talking about this last night with our fitness goals. And when somebody gets to a very high level of fitness, Martin was saying that when he was in the gym and he would see these big muscle guys and he thought, oh, it must be really easy for them. It must be really easy for them because they're so strong and the weights must be light. But
This was years ago when I was thinking this, by the way. Okay.
But no, as somebody gets stronger, then the weights get heavier. and the ways get bigger, and it still gets challenging. Just like in business, when you start having successes, then you can take on more responsibility. You look to see, how can I take more? How can I solve bigger problems? How can I expand bigger? How can I make a bigger impact in my family, in my business, in my community? So it's always about expanding your reach, your impact, and your results.
And by the way, any expansion is going to result in an expansion of problems. So let me put the right frame of mind for you, right? You're wanting to solve much bigger and more profitable problems. You're always going to have problems unless you're not challenging yourself. And even then, when you're not challenging yourself, you're going to have the problem of stagnation, because then something will punch you in the face that'll have to wake you up. You're always going to have problems, so don't run away from problems. Expansion will bring new problems. Anytime you're expanding different areas, you will have different problems. You will have more problems, other problems. The quality of your problems. So if you're going to handle problems, right, you want them to be quality problems. Which problem you want to have? You want to have $100 problem, or you want to have $1 million problem you're solving? Okay, so you solve a problem for somebody and you can make $1 million, or you solve a problem for somebody and get $100. Which problem would you rather be spending your time on? What's up, Klashia? How are you doing?
Good morning. Top of the morning, right back to you.
So you definitely want to focus on, I don't want a problem-free life. I don't want a problem-free life. I want the problems that I choose because they come from my expansion and going after the things I want in life. I want new problems, better quality problems, problems that when I solve them, they make me far more money than little bitty, itty bitty, tiny little piece of shit problems. You don't want piece of shit problems, okay? You want big ass shit problems, okay? You want some big problems so that when you solve them, think about this. What problems is Elon Musk trying to solve? The guy's a wealthy guy. What's he trying to? He's trying to solve a big ass problem on this planet. He's trying to solve multiple problems. He's like, we need to be a multi planet species. We want to go to other planets. So that's his whole. He's trying to solve that problem because he's like, what happens if shit hits the fan and we're only on one planet? Why don't we figure out how we get to another planet so our species can survive? Then he's like, okay, so we're all these engines, the gas engines, you know, they're impacting the planet. Let's have some electric cars, blah, blah, blah. He created that whole stuff, right? So you have people are solving problems. Jeff Bezos. So this dude is like, hey man, Jeff Bezos, one of the problems we're solving was we're trying to get goods to people faster that they can order from their phone, not have to drive to the store, save them a bunch of times, etc., etc., etc. So big problems. So one of the things we help people to do is we help them solve financial problems that they're having. And let me explain something to you. Rich people have a lot of financial problems. So I was talking to somebody
More money, more problems.
I was talking to somebody the other day, got a couple of $1 million sitting in a bank. To them, that is a problem. The problem is they're too busy to deploy that money into the deals they want to do. They're too busy for that. And that's a problem because they hate the money just sitting there, not working as they want it to work. People have different financial problems. There's different levels of financial problems. So understand that you can solve different levels of problems for people, and the higher level of problem they have, the more profitable it's going to be for you. So you have to start looking at what skills you have and what problems you can help people to solve. That's part of your expansion. When you start expanding your finances, you start looking for bigger problems to solve. We solved a problem for a client who was going to have a $50 million tax bill. So the client's worth a lot of money. If you die in America and you're worth above a certain amount of money, the government wants to take half of it in something called estate taxes. Most people would never have to worry about estate taxes. It's a tax on when you die before your family can inherit the assets you leave to them. So if you got a big real estate portfolio, you've got a lot of assets, all these different things, you got a business, all of that, the government looks at the value of those assets and then they try to tax you on anything above a certain amount. It's called estate taxes. So the client came to us with an estate tax problem. Yeah, sure, he's a rich guy, but he came to us with an estate tax problem. So then you then look at that. So then we were like able to structure something for this client. We created a solution where we financed a life insurance policy for the client. We put together an irrevocable life insurance trust. So it removes the life insurance out of the client's estate. And when the client dies, The money from the life insurance policy will pay into the trust. The trust will pay the estate taxes, and the rest of the money will go to the beneficiaries. So it was a major problem. We're talking about solving tens of millions of dollars of taxes for this particular client. You understand? So you got to look at what problems are you solving, and are you expanding the quality of your problems?
So if you have enjoyed this message and it's been helpful for you, and you've identified some areas that maybe you would like some help in increasing your education, executing the right actions, evaluating what actions you're doing, or a plan that you need help with, or expansion, wherever you're at in those 4 E's of financial success, we have a program that we have put together that helps to monitor your whole financial picture, to be able to see where you are, exactly where you are in each area of your finances. We can evaluate 12 areas of your finances. We used to look at 6. Now we look at 12.
Because you look more, you look deeper, you find different things, and you find other opportunities to where you can expand.
Yes, so we can look at and evaluate 12 areas of your finances to see where are you strong in and where could be at risk, and what are the specific goals, the specific actions that you need to take to reach your financial goals, to help identify and organize what are your financial goals? What do you want to be able to accomplish? What is most pressing for you in your financial life right now to be able to handle? And by looking at this whole picture, we can see exactly where you stand, what your net worth is, and exactly what steps need to be taken to increase your net worth, to strengthen it, to create unbreakable finances in your life and business. So if that's something that you are interested in learning more about, you can go to 6buildingblocks.com/kickstart, 6buildingblocks.com/kickstart, and you can learn about our program. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach out. You can send us a DM, and we're happy to help.
And it's the number 6. So 6buildingblocks.com/kickstart. And so look, ultimately, our whole mission is to help people do better, make more, save more, and give more. You can learn about different things. We have live streams that we do with different experts in the field. So it's like we've got people who are mortgage professionals. We've got people who are fitness. We're going to bring in our fitness person to actually talk about how do you actually, if you're in business, how do you expand and grow being a business owner? How does your fitness, actually being in good fit condition, help you actually grow and expand your business? All those kinds of different things. Self-storage, we got people in self-storage, business funding, all these different things you want to learn about. We talk about a lot of those on our Zoom calls. So
100 million expansion. Awesome. Is that your goal? Are you working on that? Have you done that? And do you have a plan for it?
Yes,
put it in
absolutely.
the comments. Interested.
So if you want to learn more about some of the different things we do, go to 6buildingblocks.com/kickstart. You can also check out the link in bio. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow, continuing on how to grow and expand your mindset, your personal development, and your financial development.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Oh,
send us a message.
I will put the link in
Josh,
the comments after I post this.
You're welcome, guys.
Because for some reason, when I put a comment in there, it messes it up. So I'll put it in there after. Good job.
Good job. Good job.